The ground shakes. The sky goes dark with rotor blades. And within minutes, thousands of U.S. Marines vanish over the horizon.
This isn't a training exercise. This is a large-scale amphibious and airborne insertion, and the world is watching. But what is actually happening? What are these Marines being sent to do? And why does the CH-53 matter so much to this mission? Before we talk about the mission, you need to understand the machine making it possible. The Sikorsky CH-53. In its latest evolution, the CH-53K King Stallion is not just a helicopter. It is the most powerful helicopter ever built in the Western world. With 3 General Electric T408 turboshaft engines producing over 7,500 shaft horsepower each, the King Stallion can lift up to 27,000 pounds of external cargo. That's an entire light armored vehicle dangling beneath its belly, while flying over 110 knots and operating in high-altitude, high-temperature environments, where older aircraft simply fall out of the sky. Crew of 5, up to 55 combat-equipped Marines per lift, aerial refueling capable. And unlike commercial helicopters, this aircraft is designed to absorb punishment, with redundant systems, crash-worthy seats, and the ability to take hits and keep flying. For a Marine Expeditionary Unit, or MEU, operating from an amphibious assault ship dozens of miles offshore, the CH-53 is the difference between a commander's idea and a commander's reality. It is the bridge between the ship and the objective.
So who exactly are we talking about when we say thousands of Marines? The primary unit executing operations of this scale is a Marine Expeditionary Unit, the MEU. Each MEU consists of roughly 2,200 to 2,400 Marines and sailors, organized into 3 functional elements. First, the ground combat element: infantry, reconnaissance, engineers, assault vehicles, and artillery. These are the Marines who actually seize and hold ground. Second, the aviation combat element. And this is where your CH-53s live, alongside AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters, UH-1Y Venoms, MV-22 Ospreys, and F-35B Lightning Seconds. The aviation element doesn't just support the ground force, it enables it. Third, the logistics combat element, the invisible backbone. Without them, a Marine force runs out of ammunition, fuel, blood, and food within 72 hours. They make sustained operations possible.
When a deployment of this scale is ordered, it typically means an MEU or multiple MEUs have been activated from their forward deployed positions aboard amphibious ready groups or ARGs. These ships are already at sea, already inside the region of interest, already loaded with everything needed for 15 days of sustained combat operations without resupply. That's by design. That's the philosophy. The United States Marine Corps exists to be the nation's 911 force, ready to respond before anyone else has even finished styling. Now, what are the actual objectives of an operation deploying thousands of Marines via CH-53s? To understand that, you need to understand what this type of operation is called, a vertical assault, specifically a ship-to-objective maneuver, or STOM. This is the crown jewel of modern Marine Corps doctrine. The old way, landing on a beach, fighting across open sand, pushing inland, is expensive in both time and lives. The enemy expects it, they prepare for it, they can blunt it. STOM flips the script entirely. Instead of landing on the coast, Marines launch from ships over the coast, flying deep inland, bypassing fortified beaches, and landing directly on the objective. By the time the enemy realizes what's happening, Marines are already on their doorstep. In a large-scale CH-53 assault, the objectives typically fall into one of several categories: seizure of key terrain, airfields, bridges, mountain passes, communication nodes. Control the terrain and you control movement. Hostage rescue, or ENO operations, a non-combatant evacuation operation. When a country destabilizes and American citizens need to get out now, Marines are the answer, fast, credible, and lethal enough to discourage interference. Raids on high-value targets, specific individuals, weapons caches, command and control facilities. Get in, neutralize the target, get out before the enemy can react. Enabling follow-on forces. Sometimes Marines aren't the main effort, they're the opener. They secure a beachhead or airfield so Army divisions, coalition partners, or other follow-on forces can flow in. In every case, the CH-53 is the vehicle. Speed, lift capacity, and range make it irreplaceable.
Large-scale Marine deployments don't happen in a vacuum. When thousands of Marines begin moving, and when the CH-53 fleet is being surged, it means something has shifted in the strategic environment. It could be a crisis in the Indo-Pacific. As tensions over Taiwan and the South China Sea remain persistently elevated, the U.S. Pacific Fleet maintains a constant forward presence with Marines ready to respond to any contingency, from blockade enforcement to island defense. It could be the Middle East. Iran's continued missile and drone programs, the activities of its proxy forces, and the ongoing volatility around critical maritime choke points like the Strait of Hormuz mean that Marine forces stationed aboard ships in the region are continuously on elevated alert. Or it could be Africa or Eastern Europe, where instability, coups, and the threat of great power competition have forced the United States to maintain a visible, credible military presence. Here's what every potential adversary knows when that amphibious ready group turns into the wind and CH-53s start spinning up. The clock has already started, and it is not running in your favor. Let's talk about the future, because the machine at the center of this operation is undergoing its biggest transformation in decades. The CH-53K King Stallion entered operational service with the Marine Corps in 2023, and it is a generational leap over its predecessor, the CH-53E Super Stallion. Fly-by-wire flight controls. Instead of mechanical linkages, pilots issue commands digitally, and the aircraft's computers optimize every input. The result is greater precision, reduced pilot workload, and the ability to operate in brownout conditions, that zero-visibility dust cloud that has caused catastrophic helicopter crashes throughout history. The King Stallion also features a composite rotor system, lighter, stronger, and far more efficient than the titanium and steel blades it replaces. This means more payload, more range, and more survivability. And perhaps most critically, the CH-53K is built for distributed maritime operations, the Marine Corps' new warfighting concept for the Pacific, where small teams of Marines need to be inserted and extracted from remote islands across vast distances, often under contested air conditions. In short, the King Stallion isn't just replacing the Super Stallion, it's enabling an entirely new way of fighting.